And now for my next trick. Well, thank you, Congresswoman Hayes. Wow. And yes. And Tom, thank you for sharing that story. One of the things that we do here on the corner is we shine the light on stories from the past, including these Women's History Month features, and of course Jeremy's continuing series focusing on the lives of people born into slavery. Often these are stories and achievements in just regular lives which have been overlooked or misunderstood or mostly lost to history. But it's important that these stories be heard by and remembered by those who have the curiosity to learn about what was and an eagerness to figure out how what was affects what is and what could be. I love how Lincoln addressed this in the Gettysburg Address, saying, "The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here." Reminds me of Ed's speech 2 or 3 weeks ago about his recent visit with Christine to the Museum of Memory and Human Rights in Chile. So it's not just a museum of old stuff that's still relevant, but a museum of memory, focusing on the process of truth and reconciliation. And it highlights the importance of figuring out the truth and the recognition that there can be no real reconciliation without the truth, and the awareness that reconciliation without truth just leads to suppressed anger and deferred conflict. We're facing this now in America as we approach our nation's 250th anniversary this summer. And America at 250 will be a continuing theme of our rallies in 2026. I want to let you know that I think we're going to have every single member of the House of Representatives and the United States Senate stopping by in the middle of our rallies for the rest of the year. But I was going to say we're going to kick it off tonight with the Zoom, but we kicked it off this afternoon with our United States Congresswoman stopping by. But we will continue the series that Johanna Hayes started tonight with our Zoom. In her book, How to Raise a Citizen and Why It's Up to You to Do It, Professor Lindsay Cormack writes about the importance of the kinds of conversations that Justice Southbury engages in every single week. She says, quote, "A population that is unwilling or unable to talk about politics and government makes political and societal problems harder to solve." She also writes that, quote, "A national conversation is not one thing that happens. It's a set of smaller conversations all over the nation, at home with our friends and families, with a willingness to listen and to understand." So let's continue that national conversation tonight. One of the things that she writes in the book, because she's a college professor at the Stevens Institute of Technology in Hoboken, New Jersey. She talks about in the book about how parents should be raising their children and what we need to do to become an educated populace. And one of the things she talks about with her now 14-year-old daughter is the importance of bringing her daughter to vote, and bringing her daughter with her to meet actual politicians, actual people in government, getting to know those who getting to see sort of the workings of our government. And I know that our girls did that. I mentioned last week how involved our children were with Ed Edelson and how much he involved them when he was first selectman. And our kids have spent much time with Ms. Hayes, who just popped on by, and it was such an interesting part of, an important part for them to get involved, to know that they could actually meet a congresswoman and that she could be a regular human being, and that the reason she is a regular human being and a congresswoman is because she cares about people, and the importance of that to not just the side of politics, but the side of government. So please help us continue that national conversation tonight with our Zoom at 7 o'clock. If you need the link, please let me know.